It's been hell for me, but I think you had a pretty good ride.
Yeah, I had a great ride, and I had to listen to your hell because you heard what you get kicked out, but then you didn't get kicked out, and you needed to leave, and then you did leave, and then you stayed in Istanbul for a while, and just traveling all over the place to get stuck.
I hate Istanbul and I'm forced to go there pretty much.
Hate Istanbul too.
Do you hate it too?
Absolutely. Why? It's dirty. It's disgusting. It's people are jerks. You literally charge you for absolutely
They
everything.
try to overcharge you just because you're a tourist, And
Exactly.
they speak English for that reason, just to scam people.
Exactly. So, a matter of fact, I went to on the way to the last event just now in NXL in the United States. On my way, I stopped at Yotel, which is in the
Oh, yeah, I know.
IST airport.
It's fucking expensive, though.
Only for foreigners because there was actually a Turkish family that flew from Antalya and they were staying in Istanbul and they took this hotel and it was like I believe they were charged like 89 euros for 4 hours. Okay. And then I went immediately after that and it was 139 euros for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then when we were on our way back, we took a small hotel and we like rotated the four of us,
Yeah.
and it was only 100 euros. So always a different price. It doesn't matter. It's just on how you look, what you're carrying,
What language you speak?
yeah, exactly.
They were charging me 300 euro for like a night. Wow, not 4 hours because they didn't have hours at that time. But yeah, it's fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well,
Oh, and then they do also Wi-Fi. You get an hour if you swipe your passport. You get 1 hour.
oh, in the airport, you mean?
Yeah,
I hate this airport.
it's awful.
Always get your easy. Do you have exams in Android now?
Yeah. I don't even know what you tried to say, but you said something like,
Electronic SIM card.
"Oh, there you go."
I always read one of those when I'm going to
Yes.
school. Hi, JJ. So today we're not talking about Turkey. Thank God. We're talking about your favorite country or your second favorite country. I don't know. If you have to rank the U.S. and Russia, which would be your favorite country?
All right. Well, you know what?
Let's say at the moment and in general.
Okay, so at the moment, at this moment in time, right now, I enjoy being in Russia more than the US. When I fly back to the United States, I land, I go through all the security. One, I get interrogated, and I'm a US
The
citizen.
U.S.
Yeah, in the US. I get interrogated because I've been in Russia. Two is when you're standing in line, you hear everyone's life. For example, on this trip, I know that two women just got divorced and they're fighting over custody for kids. And this is just in line to go to check their passport.
So you don't care about the chit chat, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, it's everybody has to share their life in the United States right now.
Yeah.
But in general, of course, I love America. I love the United States of America because both my parents fought for the country, spent
It symbolizes
30 years.
freedom, man.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, freedom in general. It's a dream. I grew up living in Peru, and the U.S. was a big influence on the whole of Latin America, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly, it seems that government and people from the left are currently trying to make it not that true.
Right, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The state of the USA. How are people viewing it internationally? Has it decreased its status as a global powerhouse? Is it now viewed as less than that? Is there a division in the US? All of that. And that's what I want to get into today with you. So I think we can agree that politically, there's clearly a division in the US right now. A
100%.
big one.
Huge.
What would you say it is?
I think that this division that's going on in the United States is actually the biggest since the Civil War. Because it's on its way to be another one.
Did it start with Trump?
No, it definitely didn't start with Trump. In my opinion, the divide started with Obama. Obama started the divide. He started creating this thing where he's bringing up more racism and these types of things. And the sad part is, even if you look at Morgan Freeman actually said, quote, that he says, you just need to stop talking about it. Because the more and more that people keep bringing it up, keep pushing this agenda that there is a racist America, then the more and more people follow that because of social media.
Now, there is racism in America, perhaps more than in other countries. Would you agree with that or
No.
No.
Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that the United States doesn't have any racists. There are racist people, and the racist people are shit.
But let's put it in a global scale. Would you say it's the same as other places? Europe, Latin America?
No, definitely not. I think that even in Africa, it's more racist than the U.S. I mean, they're currently right now there's like in Africa there's a war over farmland.
Yeah, I mean, Africa is pretty.
So it's a chaos place.
So what did Obama do? What what was his agenda to combat racism that makes
So
you
the thing is, so Obama had this view that he was trying to combat racism, but when he did this, it pushed people into
the mindset?
the mindset of racism, making them think that there is such a basically a pandemic of racism in the United States when there's not. Like if you are black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter your culture or your race or anything in the United States, you have the same opportunity. And what happens is like the Democratic Party since the beginning has always been for racism. And yeah, I mean, it goes all the way back to like Jim Crow laws, all these laws and everything. Like the Democratic Party was for that stuff. And now what they're doing is the way they're doing racism isn't saying like racist slurs, isn't like saying that black people are bad. What they're doing is they say black people need more help than white people. They don't. They don't. They're normal people.
And yeah, I think in my job we know it as under-resourced people. We tend to group all of the racism under this umbrella, and there are different terms, but it's essentially trying to combat the same thing I think Obama was doing. And he successfully implanted this on the mindset of the whole. At least what sells in America, it's to combat racism.
Yes, and you think there's things that go out like the biggest issue is I think that these political people from the left are trying to convince the people that are minority that they can't do what white people can do. They convince them like, oh, you need additional assistance in housing. You need additional assistance in college.
Let's talk about black people for a while in America. It's a fact that most of them don't have parents, don't have a father figure. That's because most of them just leave, right?
Yes, and that's a cultural thing.
Right.
It's not a race thing. It's a cultural.
Would you call it a problem for them?
It is a huge problem. Absolutely a huge problem because I mean,
isn't that what Obama was trying to fix though?
Yeah, he was trying to fix this, and I mean, there's a lot of things that go out to black people in the United States. Like, for example, there's universities just for black people. There's not universities just for Mexican people. There's not universities just for Asians. So there's a lot of things that help them, but at the same time, I think that it's like pandering. Pandering is the word. Like you make them feel like they can't do the things that other cultures can do, which makes this racial divide by saying like you're convincing them that they're not good enough. And that is racism. That is racism through and through. By making somebody feel like they can't do what other people can do.
That is a good point, actually. I haven't thought about it that way. And what do you think has been the effect of social media in all of this? Has it amplified this perception of racism in everyone?
Yes. 100%. 100% because there was obviously in the United States right now, there is a huge issue with social media. There are companies, there are things that are going on that are silencing one side, which is completely against them.
Maybe a good example here would be George Floyd.
Oh, yeah, George Floyd, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that video was circulated on social media, everyone was thinking that most of the people who get killed by police were black people, when in fact, police kill more white people than black people in the US.
Yeah.
And that's a huge bridge between the data and the emotions that people are feeling and the whole ideology that's behind just supporting the black people because they are racist, everyone in the US.
The thing with social media is they find an agenda and then they move with it. For example, George Floyd was not a good person. He wasn't a good person at all. Doesn't matter his race or whatever, or gender or anything.
That doesn't mean that he deserves to be killed or that.
No, exactly. It doesn't mean he deserves to be killed, but
he was a saint, essentially.
They created him into a saint, although he committed so many crimes. He had a huge laundry list of crimes that he committed, including attacking a pregnant woman and stealing stuff. And the problem with that is if you take all race out of the perspective and you just put a police officer, like any color police officer, against a person that has a laundry list of crime, what do you think? The police officer is going to automatically judge because this guy has committed this, and he's on drugs. Like, so this police officer is not considering his race. He's considering his background. And that's how we need to judge people, is on character, not on race.
I agree. And now we're talking about race. What do you think is can we bridge this divide between racism and the facts that I think a lot of people are ignorant in the US? How can we amend this?
Well, I think education. I think research and facts. I mean, there's all the way back to like the thing is everybody's saying like, oh, we had slaves, blah blah. I'm 90% sure that if you went to like 100 Americans in the United States right now, and you ask who was the first slave trader in the United States, they wouldn't know. And you know who it was? It's a black guy.
Oh,
It's a black guy.
I mean, yeah.
And none of them would know that. They wouldn't know that their own race sold them.
And there were slaves everywhere, right?
Slaves everywhere. Yeah, slaves everywhere. Slave trade is hundreds and hundreds of years old. Everybody has been a slave.
Okay, so let's move on to a little bit of perception of a fallen USA and how it's perceived in the world. And I think this takes us to, personally though, when I view the Capitol riots, it really struck a chord with me because I always viewed the US as the perfect country, as a functioning country, as democracy in one of its better phases.
What do you mean Capitol riots? Like the excitement of
When
January 6th or whatever?
when the Trump supporters got into the Capitol, they sat in the Capitol. So that was a huge blow, I think, to just how the US was perceived internationally, because everybody saw this,
Yeah.
There are huge videos about how these guys were able to just bridge in and
Well, like if you look at now videos, all these people were guided in.
they were
Right.
peaceful. They were peaceful.
Exactly.
Once they were in, they didn't make any, I mean, they were trying to protect their democracy from their point of view.
I don't really think that. I believe that there were some people that were there trying to protect democracy and trying to be for Trump, but at the same time, I think there was instigators. And if you look at a lot of the videos and stuff like that, like post videos of this big video that all of the left wants to show, and like the incitement and all this stuff against Trump. If you look at all these post videos, including videos that are directly from the inside of the Capitol, then you will see police officers guided people through and helped them.
They escorted them. Once they were inside, because outside they were trying to fucking repel them, They're trying,
Well, and then somebody got killed.
Somebody did.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump was right in writing that tweet? Did he incited the Capitol riot? He said just march, right? He said
Just march. This doesn't mean.
I mean, he didn't say it that way, march, but he said something similar. I don't think he tried to instigate this riot.
Well, I mean, if you look at anything ever in history, it's all on how you interpret.
Right.
And some people nowadays interpret everything like an idiot, basically.
So do you think blaming Trump was for
Absolutely, yeah. It's overdue. It's not Trump. I mean, if you look at anything that any president has ever said, if you read it one way, it's going to go this direction. If you read it a different way, it's going to go the other direction. So it's all about perception.
How do you think that has reflected on the international sphere regarding the U.S.? For example, Russia is another superpower. Do you think they're viewing the U.S. as a lesser country now than they
Right now, 100%. 100%. We have a weak, old, ignorant, maybe mentally retarded president right now that is just giving our money away. He's taking money from countries that we're not allied with. He's embezzling money. And it's like right now, the world looks at us like a joke. Really, I've spoke to people and they said the United States can't even understand which bathroom they need to go into.
And that is so fucking true. That it makes me sad, because
It makes me sad.
yeah,
It makes me very sad. My parents spent over 60 years together in the military to fight to keep everything great. And now it's what bathroom do you need to go? What is your pronouns? How can you focus on this thing, on these small details?
and I wonder about Europe. Europe, in my mind, has always been a reflection of the mainstream culture coming from the U.S. They adopted a lot of this stuff, even the bathroom stuff that you're mentioning right now got its way to Europe, found its way.
I think it's the other way around, actually.
Oh, you think Europe's influencing the U.S.?
I think that, Europe definitely started the way before the United States. I mean, look at Finland. And, there's countries that if your kid says, I don't want to go to school, and you force them to go to school, police can take the parents to jail. And this is ridiculous. And it needs to go all the way back. What needs to happen is the United States needs to be reverted back to the 60s and 50s, where if your kid did something stupid, you smack them on the back of the head and say, knock it off.
Okay, that's not the way.
It's definitely new. Look at the generations before. All these generations that have become something or have been put into Hall of Fames or anything like that, their parents kicked their ass when they were done.
I mean, we've done something right in the way that the world's better now that it's ever been. You know, like there's
Is it
less.
so?
Yes, there's statistics. The statistics
Right now we're on the edge of a war, huge war.
we've been on the edge of war before, and things were worse.
It's like
There was
Afghanistan.
more poverty. There was more
There's not more poverty.
before.
There's
There was.
way more poverty now. Look at California. Just go to California, take a trip, just drive your car, and you will see miles of tents. Skid Row, it's called.
Yeah.
There's more poverty. There's more homeless. There's more jobless. There's more veterans killing each other or killing themselves. All this stuff is going on in the United States right now. There is way more poverty now than there was before.
I was talking with a friend from Portland, and he mentioned there's been a surge in just homeless people since COVID. And I asked like, these homeless people, who are they? You know, like who are they? Like, and he said that they're white men around their 20s or 30s, and they just, I mean, there's no reason for them to be homeless, but
It's because the world is giving excuses. They're giving excuses. There are a few things that are manipulating our children right now. There's the government, there's social media, there's the food and drug industry, and then there's all these psychiatrists that you find on the internet. Every single person out there is saying, "Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you need this medication. Oh, you need to do this." And it's terrible. It's terrible. Then this pandemic, like the pandemic, it was literally the flu. And now we're finding out, oh, all these people that have taken the shot are freaking dying and getting some weird stuff.
and the US led the charge against the pandemic, and then there's Fauci, and
All for the wallet.
he backtracked against most of what he said. He started saying we don't need masks. Then he was like, we need masks. The facts said otherwise, because the masks don't help at all.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the pandemic for COVID, there's a lot of people that did die, unfortunately. But if you compare it to anything else within the history of man, it is a small, minuscule amount. And literally the product, the post product of this pandemic is way worse. People have lost jobs, companies have got bankrupt. There are so many more homeless people. It's atrocious.
And now we're finding out that these vaccines may not be as safe as we thought they were. They're trying to move back to, take them out in like a month, or was it like 3 months, I think, of production for these vaccines?
Yeah. And I mean, I have a conspiracy on all that stuff too with the vaccines.
There's definitely something, well, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but it was an agenda, right? And
Yeah. I mean, what I'm thinking is you have all these big wigs, all these people that are trying to control everyone, including like Mr. Bill Gates. He has come out in front of everybody talking about population control. And this vaccine, I don't believe it's meant to kill people. I don't believe that it's meant to like cause anything bad.
does someone think that?
But I think the effect is long term, like maybe making people sterile for 3 generations.
You think so?
Yes, because there's already things. I mean, the COVID vaccine is a vaccine that attacks proteins, and these proteins are the same proteins in the uterus and in the placenta that makes it so like you can have kids. So I mean, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not saying that I know everything, but this is my theory. I think that he's trying to control the population in the future, not right now.
So if we go back to the international sphere, I think when Biden was elected, he decided to cut ties with Russia, with China, and most of.
I don't know about cut ties with China. He's taking money from him right now. If you look on the news, he's getting charged for it.
Really?
Yeah, him and his little son there.
But he's not talking to Putin at all.
No, of course not. Why? Why would he? He's covered his.
I mean, Trump was, right?
Trump was. Like, okay, I'm not going to say that Trump and Putin were best friends, but they had an understanding and there was no problems.
And some people say that it was Putin seeing in Trump a weak personality that he could manipulate, and that's why they had such a great relationship.
That Trump had a weak personality?
No, yes. That Putin believed that.
Absolutely. I don't think
as a joke, essentially.
I don't think that Putin felt this at all. Because if you look at Trump, he is a tycoon in making deals.
Right.
However, I would believe that Putin definitely feels that way about Mr. Biden. You know, because I mean, the dude's like this. Oh, nobody there. Like,
Do you think cutting ties with them was the right call
kind of times
with Russia?
no, no. I don't think it's
Did it
cool.
instigate the decisions that Putin took after that?
Well, I mean, there's so many different theories about all this. I mean, you can go with the theory that yeah, it instigated the stuff with Ukraine. You can go with the theory that right now Putin's whole goal is to change the world currency from the dollar to BRICS and the yuan. You could go with the theory. There's a lot of theories about what's going on right now, but the stuff that's going on in the world right now, I believe, is because of the weak United States president.
Yeah, you can also see it from the point of view of Putin of a weak Russia, perhaps, that like a lot of people viewed before when the US was strong.
Do you think that Russia was ever weak? I don't think that Russia was ever weak.
I mean, they lost their place as a superpower, I think, for a while.
Or was that just media? Do you think that Russia, of all countries, literally the biggest country in the world, lost their superpower? Or maybe media just tried to make them seem like they lost their superpower?
I mean, they're
First, they have the second largest nuclear weapon in the whole world. Like they have more than everyone except for US. Well, before we did all the breakdowns of nuclear weapons, but still they had the most powerful, like the Tsar Bomba was the most powerful one. They have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people in all of Russia. I mean, throughout Russia, yes, the population density is smaller than the United States. I mean, there's like 150 million. In the United States, 330
there's more
million.
poverty also in Russia.
Yes, but at the same time, I think that Russian people are 100 times more patriotic than all of the United States.
They're more nationalist, but that's also the media in Russia. And that's also not the correct, I think, like way to handle things in terms of how the Russian government does it, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right in some aspects, but at the same time, like I think that a country's media, if you're going to have your self media, if you're going to have your own news industry or whatever, it needs to show like your country's good, you know. But for example, like if you look at the difference of Russian media and United States media, you have Russian media is always like teaching you like, oh, okay, perfect example, TikTok. Let's look at TikTok. If you look at TikTok in the United States, it is girls doing weird dances, strange, just really weird stuff.
Hot girls.
But if you look at it in like China, it's all productive stuff. People building things, artists, construction, engineering.
Also the power of media.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the same thing with Russia and United States media, like about being patriotic. And right now, the media in the United States is like, everything is bad about the United States. The United States is racist. We're poor. We don't need to do this. We don't need that. So the media in the United States is literally saying the United States sucks.
That's such a good point. And I don't know how to handle that media situation. Because
I do. If you're a journalist and you report false news, it is punishable.
It's not false. It's not false, right?
Well, no,
I mean,
I'm saying like,
right.
for example, if they do report false stuff, like I don't know, let's find an example where there was false news. Oh, there's so many. Where to start?
I mean, if you talk about COVID, everyone was trying to get a grasp over COVID. Everyone was reporting whatever they heard. Fauci was the
Exactly.
opinion.
But did they do the research? No, they just said to the people.
That's the
people
business.
became crazy.
Yeah, that's part of the business of media. They have to report something, so they rush out to get whatever they can. But at the same time, as consumers of media, we're constantly on TikTok, we're constantly on Instagram, we're on all these social platforms.
But my question is this. You just said that all these people just rushed out to get content. What in the entire world that has ever become successful is rushed?
Well, it does. I think it does attract success in the short term, and then on the long term, we lose confidence. Like it happened right with the U.S., like it happened with Fauci, and that.
It's same with any business. If they focus on the short term and just get money quickly, then their long term.
That's why people have lost faith in the New York Times, in many of the big journals, right? The Washington Post. I mean, they're viewed as a joke nowadays instead of a serious.
Yeah, it's like the old magazines you could buy at the grocery store where like Bad Boy was in.
Yeah, and this trust in media is a huge problem because people don't know where to turn for answers when they're looking for facts also.
And that's why there needs to be people that are responsible to bring the real truth to the people, and the people that are not bringing the truth need to receive consequence.
And I feel like those people are now the independents, like the big personalities out there who are trying
Like
to
Tucker Carlson,
Tucker Carlson. Okay,
Ben Shapiro.
okay, yeah, I mean, all those. I mean, you pick and choose your poison, and then you hope that you're right in believing in these personalities, like I think we both do. But that's our only source of facts nowadays,
Yeah.
and that's a problem, I think.
Well, this is when the thing is people do not take accountability. And when you read these things or see these things on the news, it's your responsibility not to just believe what everybody says. Exactly the same with the racism stuff that's in the United States right now. If somebody says, "Oh, there's racism in the United States," you can do two things. You can say, "Yes, there is," or you can go and research it. So you need to research everything and it's not just looking at other articles. It's like deep research.
But now the problem there is that it's a high effort thing. That
Exactly.
we can't expect
Ignorance. Ignorance is a great thing.
ignorance or just taking what they heard, right? I think we can't expect people to do their own research. And I think this goes back to institutions. This goes back to having a media that works, that you can trust. So I don't think we should expect the people to do their own research in this deep way because that's not realistic in my point of view.
And you know what? You're right. You are right because this media is trickling down through all of even on the highest Ivy League universities. I mean, I watched a video of Harvard students just walking on the grounds, and somebody just come up and say, "Hey, you can win $1,000 if you answer 5 questions." And it was quite like the simplest questions. Who was the first president to ever live in the White House?
The what?
In the first president to ever live in the White House.
Was it
Adams.
Washington?
No. So, and just questions that should be known. And and the funny thing is, no American student could answer it, but foreign exchange students that came from London, from Europe, all knew these answers. Why?
No.
So it's just
What's the position of China in all of this? Do you think they're going to become? There's people that say that China will be essentially dead as a country in 20 years. That they're destroying their own economy in the long term because all the production that they're doing is not sustainable. And we know that there's huge problems with their young population and how they feel. A lot of depression and a lot of isolation
as well and stuff like that through China.
Yeah. But we don't hear about them, right? Because the government has such huge grasp on the country.
As for China's history, their future, sorry, not the history, but the future, I'm not 100% sure. But right now, I see the goal of China to move everybody to BRICS, to try to gain the world currency, and that could be a grasp of desperation, trying to maybe their future is really failing, and this is the last grasp of desperation to try to help them out. But we have a funny thing in the United States that we always say, if it's made in China, it's shit.
Really, they say this?
Yeah. Literally, if something breaks, read the bottom, made in China. Oh, that's why.
I mean, Apple produces most of their stuff in China, and it's a huge brand.
And that's why now. Shit.
That's why you change your phone, man.
Look, how many times have you changed your phone?
Where does
I'm pretty sure Samsung does the same shit, but still.
Of course, you fucking idiot. That's it comes from China because it's cheap, and then
Yeah, that's cheap.
Yeah.
That's why everything made in China sucks.
I do disagree with people that thought since I was growing up, they all said China was going to be the future. They're going to be the world power, and I think that view is changing now because of what's happening to the people, and also Just this, it's not sustainable. I mean, people distrust the government there. Also, it's a huge communist country.
I mean, it should be powerful. Matt Damon did defend it on the wall.
They defended them. What do you mean?
There's a movie with Matt Damon where he defends against some monsters on the Great Wall of China.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like Transformers or something?
No. It's like I don't know the name of the movie, but he was on the wall. He was like some guy who was cutting up some crazy demons and stuff that were trying to crawl over the wall and kill really. It was a pretty good movie. It was. I mean, it kept you occupied in an airplane.
So you're saying China is going to be the next superpower?
No, no. I think that 2024, whether it's Trump or DeSantis or whatever, as long as it's a Republican, everything's going to go back to normal.
It's looking good for Trump nowadays. Though.
Yes, it is. Indict him again, please, because you guys are idiots.
So-
Just trying to charge him bullshit.
Nowadays, would you say there's a superpower everyone's looking out to, or they're just desperate for their own?
Right now, I think that everybody is confused of who is the superpower.
Yeah.
Because they look at United States and like, oh, Joe Biden, he's kind of a douche. And they're looking at Putin like, what's going on? And they're looking at what the fuck ever his name is in China. Ping. Just throw a bunch of plots down the stairs and everybody will understand his name. So this dude, I don't know his name, but they're all looking, who is it? What's going to happen? Basically, they're waiting for that small rock underneath the big rock to let go and start to tumble to find out who is the top dog.
Yeah, for the people also, I think there's huge confusion around because there's no compass right now. Everyone's confused. Everyone's distrusting their media, distrusting what's happening. People are going along with the agenda of diversity, equality, but then they're not believing that in their minds, so they're saying that judgment.
I think this diversity, equality stuff is nonsense. I mean, every company in the world now has a new standard where it's like a diversity standard.
I get training on that
Must
monthly.
include all of these things. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Bud Light is what, 26% down now?
Bud Light?
26% down now. Like 2 weeks ago, it was 6%. That was billions of dollars. And now they're 26% down because they had to be inclusive for some random bullshit. And that's what happens. You suffer when you try to be woke. If you're woke, you go broke.
If you're woke before you got rich.
No. Even if Anheuser-Busch is fucking really rich. And they became woke, and now they're going broke.
I mean, in the US, the woke agenda was working out great for the last, I don't know, 3 or 5 years. And now it's turning others because,
It's because now the Republican people are conservatives. If they're not Republican or not, it's like conservative people, which are like family values. There's only boys and girls, like these type of people. Now they're waking up. They're like, wow, we got to start opening our mouths and start saying this before it gets too far.
when did that happen though? When did the woke agenda?
I think the beginning of this year is when people started waking up and be like, whoa, what the heck is going on? Because a lot of people were just ignoring it. Because the thing is, the thing is like a lot of these rich people, all these like conservatives or these Republicans that become rich, or I mean, even Andrew Tate and stuff, like these guys,
Yeah.
they're not like, they have their own problems. They have their own problems. And they wake up every single day and understand they have to ignore their own problems in order to be successful. So why the fuck would they ever want to include your problems when they have their own that they have to ignore? So all these people weren't watching before. Now they're watching, and now they're seeing this, and now they want to fix America.
Yeah, I feel like Trump played a huge deal there just because he spoke his mind a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, Andrew Tate, even if I don't like him,
Why you don't like Andrew Tate? We'll keep that for the next day.
just a misogynist, like,
Oh my!
I mean,
What is the misogynist? Hold on. We got this because a lot of people ask this question about misogynist.
about Andrew Tate or in general?
No, but like let's
I mean, he brings it back to how we should treat women and all the way to, I think, too far back. Like
too far back, but
too far back in time. I mean, his views of men and women are,
what, the men are masculine and women are feminine?
yeah, but too extreme, I think, that he takes it. He takes it to extreme.
I don't think he takes it extreme at all. I mean, you live in Russia right now. Look at the women in Russia.
Yeah, but we can't just say
Everybody's independent. He's from Romania. He was in Romania. Like all the women are independent. They're all independent, but they still like play their role. Men play
Right.
their role.
But those roles, I believe, have changed not to the extreme that the media is telling you they've changed and that women want all these things that men want.
Yeah, but he's not saying that they have to be stuck in this role. He's saying that is their nature. It's their nature. A woman is definitely more loving for a child, a puppy, a kitty than a man is.
He's generalizing a lot, and I think even if it's
I
helping,
hate it. Right?
even if it's helping a lot of people just to think about those things,
It's helping men
it's helping kids,
and kids,
not men.
but it's helping
What's the real fan base of Andrew Tate? I mean, it's mostly kids who watch.
teenage boys.
Right.
Because right now, I mean, if you look at it, a lot of men are suffering because they think that they're nothing.
Yeah, and in that way, he is both helpful and dangerous if you take him word by word, I think.
Oh, so you're one of the dangerous people. People say he's dangerous.
I just,
Andrew, I'm going to email you later.
I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on how far you take it, you know.
Yeah, no. I like his views. He just says, if when women are saying like, oh, ultimate one is pussy, and it's like, no,
But we
all you have to offer.
we need those. That was not shape tape, and we need those points.
It was Dave before it was the guy that you were.
Right.
It wasn't.
We need those points of view now because we can't even define what's a woman right now in most Western media.
Oh, and what? Okay, I was going to say, don't say we can't define because I can define it.
Yeah, but we can't. You know, like you can't. There's a lot of gender stuff involved there, and
No.
if I say, "Hey, that is a woman," and I will get in trouble if I say that at my job.
This is exactly the thing. This is the thing that's happening right now. Right now, the world is making up like a new punishment for some new thing, some excuse for people to just do what they want. Like, I want to be a fucking Apache helicopter and blow some shit up. Like, that's what that's what I am tomorrow. Like, you can't just do that. That's the thing. Like, and what's happening is people like you are suffering because of it. Because now you have to be careful. You have to walk on eggshells around every single person because you can't say, sir, madam, he or she. And that's bullshit because that is literally the truth. There's biological male and biological female. That is it. Everything else is a psychotic disorder, and they need to go to the fucking doctor and probably get on something, and the FDA will make more money.
Yeah, those are the biological. There's a distinction there between gender and sex. Is that it? Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
there's
can
not.
choose what your gender is, but you can't choose what your sex is.
Okay. You want to here's a good one. So the best thing is when a woman says, or when a transgender says, "Oh, why can't I say that I'm a woman?" Okay. Now you just ask them, "Why can't I say I'm a cat?"
Yeah,
It's easy.
I'm not going to get
And the thing is, like, the line just keeps getting pushed forward.
I agree.
And now in the United States, they're trying to manipulate wording so that they can protect pedophiles.
How's that?
They're literally in the Constitution and all these different laws. They are manipulating the words. I would have to like go back and research it again, but they're manipulating words to protect pedophilia because if you look at their agenda right now, you cannot control who you love. So a gay person can't control that he loves men. A lesbian can't control that they love women. A trans person can't control because they feel like they're a woman when they're really a man. So what's next? The next step is you can't control who you love. I love little kids. So that's the next step.
Yeah, I mean,
And you know why they're doing this? Do you know why they're doing this?
Why?
To protect the government pieces of shit that have been going to Epstein's Island for fucking years.
It's a huge problem because also any man that identifies as a woman can go in a women's bathroom, and even if you're a rapist, you can fucking do whatever the fuck you
Well, I
want.
can tell you this right now. I will go to prison if somebody follows my daughter back. 100%. I will cut your dick off and make you eat it.
And a huge shout out here to J.K. Rowling,
Exactly. Yes.
the creator of Harry Potter.
Mhm.
I just heard a podcast about her, the witch trials of J.K. Rowling,
Mhm.
and this girl got her whole life upside
Turn off
down.
Yeah.
One of the millionaires, I think, billionaires of our time, huge people who loved Harry Potter, and now because she comes out and says these things that we're saying.
I mean, I really love her, but she did basically completely copy all of Star Wars, except with shitty wands and children.
How's that stuff?
Literally, let's look at it really quick. Harry Potter, orphaned, went with his uncles. Luke Skywalker, orphan, moved with his uncle. Old man comes with a beard, and Hagrid comes and helps Harry Potter. Obi-Wan comes and helps Star Wars. Okay, of course, it's the writing style. It's the hero's way.
The hero's journey.
Yeah, the hero's journey. So, but it's hilarious. I do like all the Harry Potters. It's a really cool adventure story. It's awesome. And I'm really happy that she stood up for herself and didn't let people walk all over her.
She stood up, and she's still standing up after all these years. I think it's been like 4 years since she said this on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, they got her out of business basically. No more J.K. Rowling in writing stuff or movies nowadays because she's canceled basically.
And see, this is the responsibility of the people that are normal to bring her back. Because if she's like, that's the worst thing is when people are good at something and then you cancel them. Like, what does that do for us? That does nothing. That takes away from our kids. Like, when I was young, Lord of the Rings was cool as hell. Like, and Harry Potter came out. I was interested in it. It's something that you can watch and enjoy and like be on this adventure without actually going there, you know?
Right.
And then when people cancel us, it's like, okay, so what are we going to replace it with? A bunch of fucking transgender people.
Well, we've got the Disney movies, right? Which are inclusive and diverse.
Let's move on from this one.
Yeah. How do you think people can actually turn this around and contribute to turn it around? If we talk about a normal person, or I think we can divide it between the teenagers who are mostly absorbing this stuff and then the adults.
To be honest, like in my point of view, I'm not like obligatory to anybody. Like if you're gay, if you keep it at home, fine, whatever. It's your home. Do what you want at your home. If it doesn't affect people, then whatever. But the moment it leaves your house's door and is enforced on children or pushed to the public or anything, and that means even heterosexual stuff. If, for example, you are with your girl,
Yeah,
you're against weird stuff with a red ball, it's at your home, whatever.
You're against being gay.
Yeah, like you don't need to bring it out there. Like, and that goes with anything. So, but my point of view is the way people need to fix this stuff is, keep your shit to yourself. Don't post everything on Facebook, Instagram. Don't listen to everything you hear. Like research, speak to people, understand people, listen.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth and listen. Like this is the biggest thing.
But listen to who? Listen to what?
Well, you have to listen to all sides.
I mean, social media changed the world. We
In
can't.
the worst way.
Yeah, I don't know. Surely there's a way to fix this.
But it's being responsible for yourself. That's how you have to fix it. Taking like responsibility. I can't hate somebody without understanding their story. You have to listen to all sides. Because if you're just a person that decides like, okay, I'm on this side, then you're missing half of everything. So in order to explore, like in order to be the best of yourself and to solve these issues, you have to listen to all sides. And you can't just be judgmental. Because we could do it right now. We could be like, okay, I'd probably say, fuck everyone, let's kill Russia. I could do that. But then I completely miss Russia's side. I completely miss all the people in between. I just chose something and that's it. So it's the responsibility of the person to fix this.
Should we do the same with transgender people? And maybe we are missing how they feel.
So, okay, I believe that there's people that believe they're different genders and stuff like this, but what is the science behind it? Because there's few things in the world that you cannot look around. Mathematics, science, physics. There is nothing else in the world that can change those views, because it is literally the building blocks of life.
Yeah, it makes me think that there are such a minority of people that now they're controlling the whole agenda pretty much,
Yeah, and being protected by everything. and messing up people's lives like yours. Like, how long did you have to go to class or additional lessons or additional meetings just to do your business?
It's constant training, you know.
Yeah, but why? Because someone is offended by what you said. Because the whole world is obsessed with you said something that hurt my feelings.
You know what? I think that the world bored because the world was so good in a way that we just started looking for trouble, you know.
Oh, I believe that for sure. This is what people do. If everything's going smooth, they need to find something to create chaos.
I think that's a huge part of it, actually. So if we take it back, just to wrap it up to the US, do you think the US can regain its lost position as a superpower?
100%. Trump, DeSantis, 2024. I know they don't like each other, but if they work together,
What can Trump do under a united population? I mean, do you think he can unite everyone who hates him, everyone who thinks he's
well,
bigot?
the thing is with Donald Trump, it's not everybody's gonna like him. Just like nobody likes everybody, but he just has to roll with the punches and show the numbers and show the facts and go another 4 years without war. And everybody like, oh dang, wow, we fucked up.
Yeah, I think we cannot.
Yeah, and it's not even really, let's be honest really quick. The United States didn't mess up when the last vote happened. It was, you know, completely rigged
By the US.
by Biden and the Biden administration.
So you don't believe this Russian hack?
No, not at all. I mean, you can go back and watch the votes, at like midnight, all of a sudden votes stopped. And then at like 1 a.m, there was a shitload more votes all of a sudden magically for Joe Biden. And the fact that Joe Biden, out of any president in the whole world, had more votes than any president ever is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think. So Trump is our last hope. Take
I don't think I don't think it's last hope. I don't think it's last hope, but maybe the fourth will be with him. No, I don't think he's that last hope.
He looks kind
He's up there. I just totally got it because it's May the 4th. No. So I don't think he's the last hope, but I think he's the stepping stone for the future.
Yeah, and you quickly brought it to the international stage and war. What do you think Biden's going to do? Do you think he wants war
Yes.
for the next election?
I don't particularly think he wants war, but he's using it as a cover for all the shit that his son did in Ukraine and all the shit that he did in Ukraine. And the worst part about it is all this is going on, and the people in Ukraine are suffering for what? For Zelensky and for Joe Biden's power and their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, like, in my point of view right now, I'm not for or against anybody, but I am against the fact that there are people, no matter where they're from or whatever, that are suffering because other people are making money.
Well, that money moves the world. So if you had to end on a positive note, what would you say it's the potential for change apart from Trump?
Potential to change apart from Trump. Oh,
We got a divided US, we got a divided world, misguided, not guided at all. There's a bunch of voices everywhere.
well, I mean, in a dream world, it would be best if we all united all countries and started searching other places. Because right now, what are we fighting for? Right? Oil and paper, money and rock, gold. Like, what is the goal? What is the end game? And we're like, what are we really doing? We want some beautiful paper that's colored green, or beautiful colors like in Europe, or the ruble, or whatever. Or we're fighting for a rock that's gold, which is funny because that's it. Gold is only on the earth what we have.
So you're saying we should be fighting for meaning and happiness?
No, I'm saying that we should be fighting for humanity, everyone. Everyone needs to unite because guess what? Like, this world is not going to always be forever. There are things in the universe like rocks that are huge that are going to fuck us up.
Okay, so you're taking it
To the
to the big picture, right?
Yeah, what Elon Musk is doing right now, search
For
and extend.
right. That's interesting. Definitely, yeah. We should be thinking about our future instead of just
Sitting here doing the same chess game. We're all playing checkers.
yeah. You should be playing chess. Hi, JJ. It's been amazing to have you here.
It's always good. It's always good.
We'll see you soon, and I hope we can make another podcast. I don't know what's next. Andrew Tate.
Let's go. Yeah, that is next. That is next. And take. Signing out.
Hi, people. See you soon. Take care.